All right, folks, welcome back to NewsOne Now, broadcasting live from Clark Atlanta University. Home ownership has long been the foundation of wealth building in America, but is that philosophy outdated? According to the United States, the U.S. Census Bureau, first-time home buying among individuals under the age of 35 has declined 5% since 2010. Over that same period, first-time home buying among African Americans has declined by 2%. So what's going on when it comes to buying a home, which is, of course, the most way folks build wealth in this country? Joining us right now is America's Wealth Coach Deborah Owens. Now, Deborah, let's talk about this here because as we've talked about on the show before, when it comes to creating and building wealth, most Americans do it through home ownership. You don't have pensions as large as they used to be in this country. And so if you're seeing a decline in home ownership, and we also know student loan debt is more than $1 trillion, what does that mean for wealth creation for black folks and others in America?
Well, here's what it means. It means that for far too many millennials and African Americans and minorities, what they are doing is not allowing themselves to take advantage of basically how our economic system is set up, Roland. What I know to be true is that the real estate crisis, the recession really decimated a lot of African American wealth. And the younger folks, millennials, watch their parents go through foreclosure, go through modifications. And because of that, they're somewhat gun shy. And rightly so. But I think what's important for them to know is home ownership. Many of them are staying in luxury apartments. They're paying more in rent than they would in mortgages. And so I think we've got to go back to square one and start educating them about the ways that you purchase a home and do it strategically and smartly.
But Deborah, is it also what we're looking at a society that is very much about a disruptive society, but also moving easily? You got folks who are not buying cars. They're utilizing Uber and Lyft and other sources. You also have, of course, folks who are choosing to live in cities where they're looking at using public transportation and bicycles, ride-sharing programs, car-sharing programs. And so this idea of owning is totally different than it used to be.
I totally agree with that. I don't disagree, but the fact is you've got to count the cost, right? At the end of the day, your housing is going to be your largest cost in your budget. And so the point really is in terms of how you go about home ownership. Yes, one of the first tips that I want to give today is location, 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 but I want to characterize location, location, location in a different way. For millennials, for anyone, if you're not going to be in the same location for at least 5 years, you're really not going to mitigate the cost of home ownership, meaning the down payment and the fees. So that's one thing. The other thing I want millennials to really think about when they are negotiating their job offers throughout their career is think about location. What is the true cost of living? I have 2 millennials living in New York. It'll probably take forever for them to buy anything. And so what you want to do is really weigh that. And then most importantly, as it relates to home ownership, one of the major drivers of your home going up in value is how that educational system is around that home. So I think we've got some educating to do. And to that end, the other tip I have, Roland, is take advantage of home buying seminars. I think that millennials and minorities have had a bad taste in their mouth about home ownership. So many who went through foreclosure think that that's a permanent blemish on their record. It is not. You can still own a home, but you have to go about it smartly.
So Deborah, explain co-ownership. What do you mean by that?
Co-ownership. So because housing in many areas has gotten so expensive, one of the ways that you could purchase a home is to buy it with someone. Now, that could be a family member. I know 2 sisters who 5 years ago purchased a home together. They now built equity, and now they're going their separate ways. So you have to be smart about that. It's basically a joint tenancy, if you will, but you get to split that mortgage interest deduction. So I think we've got to be, just like we're disruptive in terms of so many things in this economy, I think we've got to look at home ownership in a different way, and part of that is affordability.
All right then, Deborah Owens, we certainly appreciate it. Where can folks get more information?
They can go to DeborahOwens.com and click on WealthyU and get access to all the tips that we have on this segment.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.